was born here in Newport. Originally I went to St. Augustine's Grammar School. I had the Mercy Nuns for 8 years, and then proceeded to De La Salle, and I finished off at Providence College there, way back in 1965, so I've got 50 years out of there this year, you know. Through my school years, I worked in different grocery stores, one right near here, right at the corner of Carey Street. I earned enough to pay my tuition at that time, and who does that nowadays, you know? I was committed to go to the Coast Guard for a while. I got into the Coast Guard Reserve. I told people I didn't swim that well, so I had to go to the reserves instead of the regular service there. And I put my time in until, 1971 or so, and I appreciated my six years duty there, you know, and I'm happy for that, you know, that I did that much, you know.
Okay.
I became a probation officer here in Rhode Island. Worked in Pawtucket, Central Falls, and then in Newport. I put most of my time in Newport here, which is too close to home for that job.
How many sisters and brothers did we see in the photo?
I've got 9 brothers and sisters there, yeah.
9. And they were all born in Newport?
All born in Newport, right.
And your parents, were they?
Parents, my mother was born in Ireland, in County Kerry, in Valentia Island. My father was born here in Newport. He was one of 11. My mother was only one of 7, you know, in Ireland, you know, so. Yeah.
Wow.
But, you know, she grew up on a farm like everybody else, and my father's 2 parents came out of West Cork. They married here in Newport in 1889. I don't know if they knew each other in Ireland. They came from nearby, I know, but he probably saw an Irish girl and, hey, fell in love with her, you know. Boy. And my father, in turn, I guess, got introduced to my mother here in Newport. She was working for the rich people. Grew up in St. Augustine's, yeah. And we all were the only family with 10 that graduated from St. Augustine's there. There was others that had 10 or 11, you know, but nobody else had 10 graduates. Nobody else had 10 in their family that graduated from the school. You know. The McGrath, Pambake people are all related to us. The Blanks, by that name, Michael Blank and their father, like Mickey Blank, is a first cousin of ours, because my father grew up here on Dean Avenue, and I don't know, as usual, a couple of them died very young, at birth or at 6 months old or something like that. But I would imagine out of the 11, probably about 8 that grew to adulthood. My mother probably was a controlling force in the family. My father would go off to work. He worked at the torpedo station, so he had to catch a ferry every day, go to the government landing and take a ferry over. Torpedo station was out on Goat Island, and they wouldn't put up a bridge because they were afraid that the enemy were going to bomb it. You know, the only day my father ever missed the ferry was in 1934, cold winter. The harbor froze over. So don't you know, somebody with some sort of a boat spotted my father waiting to go over, and gave him a ride, and he never made any more than $90 a week in all his time there. You know. It's reported at times, that they had 12,000 people over there. I have 2 sisters that married Navy fellas, and the other 2, of course, married God. So, and I have 3 other brothers that married. 1970, I went back for the first time. And I figured maybe that was the only trip I was going to make there, but I made 8 more after that there. I never really did research. I got all my research from my mother, and then on my father's side, I got it from a fellow that wrote books that are here, Roberto Dwyer from West Cork, the Beira Peninsula. He's put out an enormous amount of information. He interviewed every priest in the whole Beira Peninsula. He went to every parish. He went to family homes. He, and interviewed all these people. And he put all this information together. And I've spotted my father's people listed in there, and several other Newporters too. I've got over 3,000 names in that. I've got bigger numbers with other people around here, but yeah, got over, like, I think it's about 3,300 names in my database there. They extend in all different directions, you know. I think maybe when I was working as a probation officer, I would sometimes go to City Hall, and at that time you could walk in and verify information. From that, I developed a list of deceased members of the Hibernians there, going back to 1889. So that, you know, all those connections panned out for me there. The city clerk decided after, let's see, Mrs. Bolthouse was the first one, and she had passed away, and they named a retired city clerk, Jane McManus. And Jane was in Middletown in Blenheim, I believe, and the city clerk decided, well, she doesn't live in Newport anymore, so, you know, you have to live in Newport to qualify. So she asked me if I would be interested, and I said, well, okay, I'll, you know, after a day or so, I agreed to be city historian, and there was no opposition. At the same time, the city manager, he got 3 votes out of the 7, and he was out. I got 7 out of 7, and I was in, you know.